In this video, I'm going to show you how to download and install the ISE Design Suite software. ISE is one of the two main software packages from Xilinx for digital design and implementation using FPGAs. The other software from Xilinx used for hardware implementation with FPGAs is called Vivado. Different versions of ISE software were released until 2013, but after that year, new releases were discontinued and Xilinx introduced Vivado for FPGA implementation instead. The last version of ISE was 14.7, which was released in late 2013. Now, a common question among those new to Xilinx FPGA implementation is whether it's still necessary to learn and use ISE. The answer is yes. The reason is that although ISE hasn't been updated since 2013 and Vivado has replaced it, the FPGAs supported by ISE are not supported by Vivado and vice versa. For example, the Spartan 6 FPGA is supported by ISE but not by Vivado. Or the Virtex 7 FPGA is supported by Vivado but not by ISE. On the other hand, FPGAs like the Spartan 6 are still officially produced by Xilinx and are widely used in implementations. So if you want to use this FPGA in your design, you have to use ISE because this FPGA is only supported by ISE. So in short, the choice between ISE and Vivado is not about which one is newer or more powerful. It's about which FPGA you are going to use. Depending on your target FPGA, you need to use the software that supports it. Alright, with that background on the necessity of learning and using ISE, let's see how we can download and install this software for free. As I mentioned, the release of new versions of ISE has been stopped since 2013. For this reason, this software is officially supported on Windows 7 and XP. However, with a few small modifications, we can run this software on Windows 10 without any issues as well. Unfortunately though, ISE cannot be installed and run on Windows 11. To resolve the installation issue on Windows 11, Xilinx introduced a special version of ISE called ISE 14.7 Windows 10 a few years ago. This version of ISE is actually the same 2013 version, but installed on a virtual machine and can be run on Windows 10 and 11. In this video, I'll explain both methods of installing ISE. But my suggestion is that if you're using Windows 10, use the 2013 version without the virtual machine. That's what I do myself. But if you're using Windows 11, you have no choice but to use the new method and use the virtual machine. Also note that you can easily install this software on Linux, and I'll show you where to download it in this video. Now, to download ISE software, we need to visit the Xilinx website. However, since Xilinx was acquired by AMD a few years ago, the Xilinx website has been redirecting to amd.com for some time. On the AMD site, to access the download section, first go to the Resource in Support menu and select Vivado Design Suite. This will take you to the download section of Xilinx website. On this page, click on ISE Archive. As you can see here, all versions of the ISE software are available for download in this section. The first option is ISE 14.7 Windows 10. This is the new version that is installed on a virtual machine and runs easily on both Windows 10 and 11. If you have Windows 11, you'll have to use this version. The second option is ISE 14.7. This is the last regular version of ISE released in 2013, and it installs directly on your computer without needing a virtual machine. If you're using Windows 10 or earlier, I suggest using this option. As you can see, there is a link to download the software for the Linux operating system in this section. And there is also a link to download the software for the Windows version in this section. This section is for the Windows 10 version of ISE, and here's the download link for this software. First, I'm going to install the version for Windows 10 and 11. So I'll click on the download link. Now a new window opens asking me to log into the website. If you have previously created an account on the Xilinx website, you can log in now. Otherwise, you must first click on the Create Account option and create a new account. To create a new account, simply enter your first and last name, email address, preferred language, and location. Since I've previously created an account on the website, I will log in now. To download files and software from the Xilinx website, you'll need to provide additional information, including your address. Fill in these details and then click the download button. I recommend that you use a download manager to make this process easier and faster. Depending on your internet speed, it may take some time for the software to download. Alright, the software has been downloaded now, and as you can see, a compressed file has been downloaded, which we need to extract before installation. As I said before, this special version of ISE is supposed to be installed on a virtual machine. To do this, we need to download a special software first. The name of this software is VirtualBox. To download this software, first go to the link I provided on this page and then click on Windows Hosts. Then run the download file, and after clicking Next a few times, finally click on Finish to complete the installation and run the program. Let the VirtualBox program stay open like this. Then go to the folder where you place the compressed ISE file and extract it. One important thing to note is that in order to run the Windows 10 version of ISE on a virtual machine, you need to ensure that virtualization is enabled in your computer's BIOS settings. To check whether virtualization is currently enabled, first navigate to the bin folder. Then copy the full path of the bin folder here. Now type CMD in the Windows search bar to bring up the command prompt window. Here type CD and then paste the full path to the bin folder to navigate there. Now you need to type the file name validate_virtualization_enabled.bat here and press enter. As you can see, virtualization is already enabled on my computer. If it wasn't enabled on your computer, you would need to go into your computer's BIOS settings and enable it. Now that we are sure that virtualization is enabled, we can start installing the software. In the virtual machine version of the ISE software folder, double-click on the X setup file and then click on Allow Access. The ISE installer will now launch. Click Next to proceed. In this window, you'll see the license agreements that you need to accept. After agreeing, click Next. Here, you'll be shown the amount of disk space required to install the software. You can click on Next again. In this field, you can specify the location to install the software files. I'm going to add _VM to the default folder name to indicate that this is the special version of the software that is installed on the virtual machine. Here again, the amount of space required and the amount of space available on drive D, which will be the installation location for the software, are shown. Here you can also choose a name to be displayed in the Windows program list. Again, I'm going to add VM to the end of the default name. Make sure to check the box to create a desktop shortcut for easy access. Now in this field, you can specify a shared folder on your computer that the virtual machine will have access to. Keep in mind that when running ISE on a virtual machine, you'll only have access to this share folder. For example, if ISE generates project files, they'll be saved in this folder. Or if you have pre-existing projects, you'll need to place them in this folder to access them from the virtual machine. I'm going to specify the folder where I keep my project in this section. Now click Next and then Yes to create the Xilinx_VM folder. In this window, you'll see a summary of your selections. If everything looks good, click Install to begin the installation process. The installation can take some time, so I'll pause the recording until the installation is complete. Alright, the software installation is complete. Click on the OK button. Now, if we go to the VirtualBox software window, you can see that ISE has been added to this section. To run the software on the virtual machine, just double-click on the software name here. To switch to full screen mode, click on View and then select Full Screen Mode. And here, I can click on View again and then Full Screen Mode. Okay, we are now actually in a virtual machine that has been created within our computer's main operating system. As you can see, this virtual machine has its own desktop and the ISE software icon is located on this desktop. To run the software, just double-click on its icon. Alright, ISE is open, and now if I want to open a project, I can click on Open Project, and here in the ISE folder, as you can see, it has access to the folder that I specified as the shared folder with the virtual machine. As you can see, I don't have access to other folders and files on my computer. Here I can select the examples_design course folder and open this project, for example. To exit the virtual machine, I can click on this X icon and then select Power off the machine and finally click on OK. So that's how you install ISE on a virtual machine, allowing you to run it on Windows 10 or 11. But as I mentioned before, if you're using Windows 10 or earlier versions, my suggestion is to use the regular version of ISE. However, in this case, you'll have a minor issue on Windows 10. The ISE software will automatically close during work. This problem is easily resolved by making a few small and simple changes to the software files. To download the regular version of ISE, go back to the Xilinx website and the download section. Then select 14.7, which is the latest version of ISE. Here you can download the full installer for either the Linux or Windows operating systems. I'm going to click on the download link for the Windows version. This takes me to the name and address verification page, and at the bottom, I'll click on Download. Once the software is downloaded, go to the folder where the compressed file is located and extract it. Next, navigate to the extracted folder and double-click on the X setup file to start the installation process. Click on Next and check these boxes here and then click on Next. In this section, we check this option again and then click on Next. In this section, you need to select a version of the ISE software that best fits your needs. The full version is called ISE Design Suite System Edition. You can choose this option and proceed with the installation. In the Installation Options section, there are several features you can disable if they aren't needed. For example, there's an option that automatically sends usage statistics to Xilinx, which you can disable if you prefer. However, you should definitely keep the option to install cable drivers selected, as this will ensure that the ISE Programmer tool is installed along with the software. Now click Next. On this page, you can specify the folder where the program will be installed. I'll leave the default folder unchanged. Here it shows the available disk space on the selected drive and the required space. Selecting this option will place the software icon on the desktop and in the Windows programs list. This is the name that will be displayed in the list of programs in the Windows Start menu. Click on Next. This page summarizes the installation settings. If everything is correct, click Install to begin the process. During the installation process, you might be prompted to install additional software components. Allow all these components to be installed. At this stage, the software wants to install the programmer driver. Before that, it asks you to disconnect any programmer cable connected to the computer if there is one. Then click OK to install the programmer driver. Another important step during installation involves linking ISE with MATLAB for System Generator. Now, there is an interesting feature in MATLAB that allows you to create and simulate a signal processing algorithm in the Simulink part of MATLAB. Then, with just a few clicks, convert it into a module that can be implemented in ISE. If you already have an appropriate version of MATLAB installed on your computer, this is where you can link these two tools. If the installer cannot automatically find the MATLAB installation on your system, you can manually locate it by clicking Find MATLAB. Currently, MATLAB is not installed on my computer, so I can't do anything specific in this section, and I just click OK. Okay, at this point, the software installation is successfully completed. The instructions here asks us to run the settings64.bat or settings32.bat file located in the ISE_ds folder to set some environment variables. Now, we can do this after loading the license file into the software. Once the installation finishes, the License Manager window will automatically open because we selected this option during the installation process. If the License Manager doesn't appear, you can manually open it by going to the ISE software and selecting Manage a License from the Help menu. Select Get Free Vivado ISE Webpack License and then click on Next. Now click Connect Now, which will take you to the product licensing section of the Xilinx website. Click on Submit to go to the Create New License section. Select ISE Webpack License and then click on Create Node Locked License. Now click on Next to create the new license. In the Manage Licenses tab, you'll see the created licenses and can download them if needed. By selecting this option, you can download the license file so that you can load it into the ISE software in the next step. Okay, I've downloaded the file. Now I can copy it to a folder on my computer. For example, I can copy it to the 14.7 folder. To load the license file into the software, I go back to the Manage Licenses section and select Load License. However, at this point, you might encounter an unexpected issue. Instead of allowing you to load the license file, the License Manager window may close unexpectedly. This is the issue I mentioned earlier that occurs in Windows 10 when using the regular ISE version. So before we can load the license file into the software, we need to fix this problem. Fixing this issue is very simple and only requires moving and renaming a few files. First, go to the folder path Xilinx 14.7 ISE_DS ISE lib NT64. In this folder, find the file named libPortability.dll and rename it to libPortability.dll.orig. Then locate the file libPortabilityNOSH.dll, make a copy of it, and rename the copy to libPortability.dll. After that, go to the following directory: Xilinx 14.7 ISE_DS common lib nt64 and copy the libPortabilityNOSH.dll file to this folder as well. In this folder, rename the libPortability.dll file to libPortability.dll.orig. And finally, rename the libPortabilityNOSH.dll file to libPortability.dll. With these changes, the problem of the license manager closing unexpectedly in Windows 10 should now be resolved. Now we can go to ISE and select Manage Licenses from the Help menu to open this window again. Now we click on Load License, and as you can see, this time the window did not close automatically. Here we can browse for the license file and load it into the software. If you remember, according to the instructions shown at the end of the installation process, we were supposed to run a batch file to set up the environment variables required for the software to function correctly. This file was located in the ISE_DS folder. So I'll go to this folder, and since my Windows version is 64-bit, I'll run the settings64.bat file. With that, the installation and setup of ISE are complete, and you should now be able to use all the features of the software to implement your digital designs on FPGA. I hope you enjoyed this video and found value in it. If so, please give this video a like, and if you're not already part of the community, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified each time I share a new video. Let me know in the comment if you have any questions about downloading and installing the ISE Design Suite. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Ahmad Saqafi, and I'll see you next time.